Hi again, everybody. This is video 2, and excuse me. There's only 2 short readings that I'm sending you with this, and I just want to highlight a couple things in the readings. One of them mentions modeling, and in your course outline, you'll see for this session, I've listed some ways that we do modeling as teachers. And the part I wanted to read to you is, let's see here. Teacher modeling and coaching are highly effective in improving the students' fluency in both reading and writing. Guiding and supporting students through texts and helping them create their own questions is more effective than telling students what the text means or what to look for in text. Let me say that again. Guiding and supporting is more effective than telling students what the text means. We'll come back to that. And one other thing that kind of relates to this poem is that effective literacy teachers create conversational communities. And we've talked a lot in our last course about the importance of conversation and actually it being one of the ways to gather information about a student and where their learning is at, along with observation and products that they might produce. So the conversation is very important. I'll read you this poem. It also, as you're listening to these, you might think back to that anchor of the picture of the garden. The words that I put there are from the text from the last course. And this is part of the anchor that I want to come back to all the time. Hope, open-mindedness, curiosity, and criticality. And in this poem that I'm going to read to you, it's another case of one of those pivots that we do as teachers. Something unexpected happens and we have to respond to it. And it has to do with modeling. What I learned about modeling from this little grade 1 girl. It has to do about hope. I think her hope in me, hope and trust. And it also has to do with criticality because she was the one demonstrating critical thinking. And it was very important to her that I understood the way she was thinking. And after that, we started to talk. But before that, we hadn't had many conversations at all, like you'll see in the poem. So here it is. It's called The Art of Invitation. And art because, every question that we ask, every idea that we think is really neat that we might pose to a student isn't necessarily seen as an invitation. We develop somehow our own personal, unique way of, maybe it's the smile that we have. Maybe it's the way our voice is. There's something about us that is inviting. And that's important for students to feel. And like we have to find what works with different students. So this is a student that I remember very fondly. This is 1992, The Art of Invitation. Our first few months together, hours entertaining yourself in quiet little hideaways, occupied, contented. I smile at the first time you shared a reflection. We had talked about likes and dislikes. You liked bananas. As we dressed for recess, in the confusion and noise, you quietly came over. My ears and mind strained to pause. Not now, dear, I almost replied. I don't like ripe bananas, you know, with brown spots. After that, with polite, enchanting insistence, you stopped me many times. Your trips down the hall became a steady stream of books and stories and projects. Today, you gave me a gift. I set it aside, not understanding. You waited days until I asked about it, all pencil-lined and stapled. It's a place to record the books you read because we all have one. Thank you, Sarah, for reminding me that I am always a learner too. You have a right to see these skills will serve a lifetime. Your invitation was so perfectly natural. I accept. So in the classroom, I had to measure up. Like I did start keeping a record in there of anything I was reading, so that I could show it to her, and it felt very good. I felt proud of that. So we talk a lot about wanting to bring children into all those skills of literacy, and we say our goal is to promote adults who will love to read, who will want to find out. They'll be curious. They'll be open-minded. All those things. And are we showing our students that we are those people, that we do love to read, that we love to learn? They have to see that. And here, this was a grade 1 student that really brought that home to me. So the worksheet for this is the same type of thing. I'm going to use that for all the 4 videos. But this time you focus on this poem. And what we're looking for is, what does it mean to you? Like the questions on that sheet. I've got, what did you see through reading this poem? You might describe the scene or what it meant to you. And then, what did you think about the situation described in the poem? So it's recess time, it's busy, getting snowsuits on in the wintertime, how chaotic that is. And you have somebody come up to you, they have to tell you something. That's one of those pivot situations. In an instant, you have to recognize if this is a significant thing. And intuitively, I think we know that. And then, what did you wonder after reading the poem? What did you feel after reading the poem and thinking about your own experiences? Because I know all teachers have similar experiences like that. And time was a word that came up in many of the responses from the last course. How do you find the time? And very often it's a case of something just being put on your plate in front of you. And it's a moment that if it passes by, it cannot be recaptured. And I guess it's a case of taking those just a minute or two to really make a connection. You know, we say as Aboriginal people that the quality of a relationship with a teacher is the most important indicator of success through secondary school. I've read that in more than one study. What is most important to you? You ask that to a student at risk, and it always seems to come back to relationship, and relationship takes time. So that's one of the things that I sort of learned through these poems when I look back at them, and I realized they were almost all things that happen in the moment that I couldn't have predicted. And I was thankful that, my eyes and ears happened to be open just at that time, that I was able to capture that and build on that. So at the bottom of the page, the last, on the worksheet, the last box, which is the same for all of them, it says, look back at the drawing of the Garden of Learning. Describe one of your students that this poem reminds you of. So if the little girl in that poem reminds you of sort of the budding plant, or somebody that's, all in flower. I can tell you her story a little bit. She'd gone to JK in a French school. She did not speak French, and she was just traumatized by it. Her parents brought her to our school in about October, and they said, we have to change schools. She's just, she's so unhappy and withdrawn and all that. So it took her another 2 or 3 months with me. And every chance she'd get, if we were doing activities, she would be under a table somewhere. Maybe with a book, maybe with a puzzle, but she was just trying not to be there at all. So this little incident was kind of, life-changing in her grade 1. And it all happened so fast. So it's important that you use this poem as a starter, but then try to reflect a little bit on children that you know, so that this has value for you, not just me. The other thing I wanted to say is I posted the first video 6 days ago, and we need a turnaround time of about 3 days. So as soon as you're able to watch the video, try and reflect a bit on that worksheet and get that out to me in about 3 days. And that, if we can do that, we'll keep this on track, because I don't want you thinking about assignments in the middle of your practicum. We want to get this done as quickly as possible. If you have any problem with the videos, please message me, and we'll see if any corrections are needed. So that's about all for now, and I hope you enjoy the poem. Thanks. Bye-bye.